Self rested. I was moving and shaking and everything else. So I'm back with y'all. Whew. Let's start this off on a funny note. First things first, I want to give a shout to Canelo's jaw and neck for taking that punch last night. That's all I want to say. Give me a second, y'all. Let me share this, get this out to everybody. I'll be right back with you guys. Just give me 1 second, guys. Thank you for that like, whoever threw that like in there. Just get a like in there. Just give me a second. I just went live. I just literally went live. I've been live for 50 seconds now. Give me a second now. Give me a second, guys. All right, I like that picture. All right, hold on 1 second. You have to let certain people know. You have to let certain people know. Here. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Make sure you double tap that screen. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Make sure you double tap that screen. Hit the like button as you come. Hit the like button as you're coming in. I appreciate it. Just sharing this, guys. Give me a second. Let me share this. Get everybody in here. Let me do this one more time. Get everybody in here. Let me do this one more time. Get 2 other people in here. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just sharing. Give me 1 second here. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just sharing. Only been live for a minute and 30 seconds. So just a minute and 30 seconds. Some people, they're getting paid. So I ain't checking them out. So the other day, and if many of y'all were here, y'all remember I ran this for actually 2 days. And what I was talking about was a video that I posted. And I'm going to show you that video again so you guys that haven't seen it can see it. Well, that video now has become a topic of discussion. And I initially posted this video when I had a very grainy imagery, if you want to say, for the most part of this video. But yet, I still showed it, right? And I want to show that video to you again when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And this is the video of interest right here. I may have to lengthen this a little bit, but I want y'all to see this video. Yep, let me do that first. Let me take this off. Just give me 2 seconds, guys, because I really think you should see this video if you have not seen this video. So in this video, what's depicted here is there's 2 gentlemen, which I later on find out, because like I said, this was kind of cropped. So what I later on find out is the 2 gentlemen in the video, many of y'all saw it. There's one gentleman in white, and then there's another gentleman in black. Well, I so eloquently said the other day here on my channel, and I said it 3 times now, in front of Trump Tower as well. I said, these men, they seem like they were trained or something like that. Whatever capacity it was, I don't know. I can't assume that. Is that fair? But what I do have is this video, and now this video is circulating, and it's also got people within the FBI talking, CIA, and major media. What do you know? Before I said it 3, 4, 5 days ago, I'm like, who are these guys? Now, in this video that I'm showing you, in the version I'm showing you first and initially here, what you're going to notice is it's cropped. Okay, and the reason it was cropped, the video was cropped, because I think they were trying to put emphasis on the 2 individuals. The one guy in the white and the one guy in the other outfit here, which is in the black. A hand signal, and you're going to see what I'm talking about right here.
The Rat King will rise.
You want to release that anger?
How many massacres there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
I'll write that for you one more time, because the other day I did. We replayed it 16 times.
How many massacres there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
I want y'all to see that one more time. Now,
how many massacres there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
now y'all seen it, right? Now, I'm not here to dispute or give conspiracy theories of where I think that person was placed or how I think they had to. I'm not here to do that. What I'm literally trying to show you is what now major media is talking about the same etiquette here. Now, I've seen MSNBC talk about it now. Fox, they're bringing it up in the mutters here, which they'll probably go fully into it. Who are these 2 guys? And nobody has an answer for that. And that's the wild thing about it. Nobody has an answer for it. 3 days ago now, when I was talking about these 2 guys, because as you can see the timestamp on this, and I'll show it to you so you know I didn't just put it up today, because a lot of people like to dispute things like that. This is my channel, and as you see, that video was posted 3 days ago. See that? 3 days ago. Can you see it? Right there. 3 days ago. So I was talking about this 3 days ago. And people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying. And, da, 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 da. And there was a reason behind that. Whatever the reason was, I don't know. I don't care. But I know here on this channel I was talking about it. Now you got major media talking about the same thing. What's going on, Terry? You got major media talking about the same thing. So maybe old Davin here ain't as silly or slow as you think he is, you know? And that's the thing that kind of grinds my gear here. I really get bothered by that, being deduced by the fact that you don't speak articulately enough and pontificate to the masses. And da, 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 da. Anybody that talks to you like that, they're trying to fool you. You understand what I'm saying here? People that are trying to do that, they're trying to fool you. And that's what happens with people like that. Yeah, sure, man. Sure, whatever you say. We don't do that here. We don't do that here, nor do we argue with the riffraff. My point I'm getting at is here, you can go do your own searches and you'll see the same thing reiterating. It's going to talk about it even more and more and more as time progresses during the week here. I'm very good. I worked 17 years in the music industry, and I came in a time in the music industry. And I know you say, how does this correlate? Well, there's a certain way we were trained. We were trained to look for things, pay attention to things that are not online, because online wasn't privy to me when I first started in the music industry. What was privy was you were in the streets, you were at the places here, you found out, you gathered information. The whole way that we did it, and I'm not going to sit here and tell people, but we did it in a certain way that wasn't applicable to using digital datas and systems and Googling things or whatever. My mind still stays like that here, still being involved in the music industry, but years after. No, I am not choke, no joke. So anyway, long story short here, I don't like people when they even come in here and say some stuff like that. I think they insult Choke No Joke. I know Choke No Joke. Choke No Joke is a friend. You know what I mean? Shout out to Choke No Joke. But anyway, what I'm saying to you is, and it might bother some of you, maybe you need to start looking at some of these things that I'm pointing out here a little bit earlier. Because like I always got a quote. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. You get what I'm saying here? Hey, Jesus love you. He died on I don't know why you're in here talking about that. That has nothing relative around the conversation. People that usually do that don't have very much faith in themselves. But thank you for the compliment. But yeah, we're not promoting things like that in here. You're not here for that. You're here for yourself. Now, I got a couple of things I want to show you guys or whatever. And I'm going to segue a little bit in the conversation here. And I know a lot of y'all may not understand where I'm going here, but I'm going to show you here in a few seconds here. Oh, my brother hit me up. I got to hit him back. I also wanted to add in a conversation too about Chicago and the schools, but I'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you guys this video here. Yeah, here it is right here. So in the movement of, hey, what's going on, Mark? In the movement of everything that's going on in Utah, I don't know if a lot of you know this or not, but there was actually another attempt. And this attempt was on the media. That's why I wanted to segue into this. And a lot of people, I need the name of your tailor. You're always on point. Thank you very much. It's not tailor-made at all. I know what fits me. And the shirt I wear about a 44 long. What's the name in the chat? I know my measurements. You know what I mean? Like I can't point them out right now because I'm having a brain fart. I'm thinking something else. But I know my measurements and stuff like that. So I usually get stuff that's fitted to me. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. 2 men in custody in Utah after allegedly putting live bomb on the news vehicle. Now, this also happened in Utah, and this happened this weekend, the same place where Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. And I just wanted y'all to hear this because this is interesting.
7:13 right now in Salt Lake City. 2 men are in custody after they allegedly put a live bomb under a news vehicle.
That's just one of the top stories we're following this morning. Let's go back to that. It happened on Friday. According to court documents, police say the device had been lit, but thankfully did not go off. 58-year-old Abid Nasir and 31-year-old Adil Amay Nasir are been identified during the investigation. Officials found more explosive
I'm going to bring this back to the beginning. I didn't realize I had the green screen on.
There's no information about a possible motive.
This totally went under the radar. Nobody. I'll play it again for you.
7:13 right now in Salt Lake City. 2 men are in custody after they allegedly put a live bomb under a news vehicle.
That's just one of the top stories we're following this morning. Let's go back to that. It happened on Friday. According to court documents, police say the device had been lit, but thankfully did not go off. 58-year-old Abid Nasir and 31-year-old Adil Amay Nasir are been identified during the investigation. Officials found more explosive guns and drugs. Right now, there's no information
They
about a
found
possible
guns and
motive.
drugs. Well, let's run that back again. This happened on Friday. One more time.
7:13 right now in Salt Lake City. 2 men are in custody after they allegedly put a live bomb under a news vehicle.
That's just one of the top stories we're following this morning. Let's go back to that. It happened on Friday. According to court documents, police say the device had been lit, but thankfully did not go off. 58-year-old Abid Nasir and 31-year-old Adil Amay Nasir have been identified during the investigation. Officials found more explosive guns and drugs. Right now, there's no information about a possible motive.
Once again, no motive. No motive. No motive. What is going on? What is going on? Now, most of the major news out. How many of y'all? First of all, just by a show of hands, I'm going to go back into the chat in a second. I just want to know who in the chat knew that this happened on Friday. Anybody? Did anybody possibly in their right mind knew that this happened on Friday? Because I didn't. You know what I mean? And this is why I always make it a thing to go through and see things a little bit thoroughly or whatever from a different perspective. And I knew nothing of this on Friday. Now, this is within the same week, same paradigm in which Charlie Kirk died. Died. Where? In Utah. So I looked into Utah and I wanted to find out some things. Have you ever looked into separatist groups in Utah? Have you ever looked at that? Let's do it. Let's do a little thing right there. Vale said she didn't know. You live in Utah. That's what's up. What's going on out there? Because you guys got a lot of problems that you try to sweep under the rug, and that's why your governor and your mayor said what they said. You think I don't know about it, but I do. Because I always look at things that the average person wouldn't look at. Utah separatist groups. And here we go. So I want to read this out to y'all. The primary event associated with the Utah separatist movement was the Utah War of 1857 through 1858, a conflict stemming from the Latter-day Saints' desire to self-government and the autonomy of the Utah territory. The Mormon settlers, led by Brigham Young, established a theocratic government, which is the U.S. federal viewed as a form of rebellion and precursor to secession. Same thing that Texas and California tried to do, secession. You get this from a lot of rebel states. While the movement, meaning they have their own ideologies, they have their own forms most of the time of religious banter that perceives or proceeds them. While the movement never fully materialized into a formal bid for nationhood, the desire for local control and conflicts in the federal authority during this period reflect the closest historical parallel to the separatist movement in Utah. Now, they have a breakdown. They have the Mormon autonomy. They have the federal apprehension. They have the military confrontation. They have the theological and political goals, which I will read. The conflict was deeply rooted in the clash between the Mormon theocracy and the federal authority, with young men speaking of the possibility of a kingdom of God succeeding from the United States. Now, usually, like I said before, that's what you'll find with a lot of these and I say that as each state, even though you'll have people that move there, you always have a group and a population of people that are birthed there, people that have sat there, people that know the how can I say it? People that know the background of the state, its history, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people in Utah would know that it stems from that stuff that happened right there. Now I want to read this to you. Based on the recent news and reports, the most active white separatist group in Utah is the Patriot Front, which has a growing presence in the state. Other white supremacist prison and street gangs such as the Silent Aryan Warriors, known as SAW, the Soldiers of Aryan Culture, known as SAC, also remain active in Utah. Recent activity in February 2025, dozens of members of the Patriot Front marched to Harriman, Utah, holding signs that read, "Deport invaders." A federal FBI agent described the group as a classic white supremacist group whose recruitment is expanding across the country, including in Utah. Recruitment tactics, recruitment and tactics. The Anti-Defamation League, ADL, describes Patriot Front as a highly visible white supremacist group known for flash demonstrations. In 2022, Utah was one of the states with the highest amount of propaganda distribution by the group. I will read that for you again. The Anti-Defamation League describes Patriot Front as a highly visible white supremacist group known for its flash demonstrations. In 2022, Utah was one of the states with the highest amount of propaganda distribution by the group Patriot Front. Connections. The group also has connections to a 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, if many people remember that. Now, I want to go on and read this. Also in Utah, Silent Aryan Warriors. The ADL identifies the Silent Aryan Warriors as a large white supremacist gang that operates both in the streets and in Utah's prisons. Okay? So you're talking about Charlie Kirk. No, let's talk about the real ones. Y'all want to have the discussion? I'm gonna segue into that in a minute too. There's a lot of people trying to have this discussion or whatever. People, please feel free to support me if you wish and hit the Cash App, or make sure you hit the like button. Now, the ADL identifies the SCAW, or Silent Aryan Warriors, as a large white supremacist group that operates both on the streets and in Utah's prisons. The Soldiers of Aryan Culture, acronym SAC. In 2020, federal charges were filed against 21 gang members and associates of SAW, SAC, and other groups of drug and firearms in the South Lake City and Odell areas, or Ordine, I think that's how you pronounce it, condemnation. Following the heroin march in February 2025, now mind you, that was this year. Following the heroin march, which is a march with the Silent Aryan Warriors, I believe that's what their names are, Utah's Democratic leaders and organizations like the Council on American Islamic Relations publicly condemned that group's hateful messaging. Intelligence warnings. In 2025, intelligence experts warned that white supremacist groups were expanding their presence in Utah. Law enforcement officials stated that while a small percentage of members plan violent activities, infiltration is necessary to monitor these groups. I'm going to read that to you again. In 2025, intelligence experts warned that white supremacist groups were expanding their presence in Utah. Law enforcement officials stated that while a small percentage of the members planned violent activities, infiltration is necessary to monitor these groups. Law enforcement in action. In 2020, FBI director warned that racially motivated violent extremism, primarily of white supremacists, constituted a majority of domestic terrorism threats in the United States. Let me read that for you one more time. In 2020, an FBI director warned that the racially motivated violent extremism, primarily from white supremacists, constituted a majority of domestic terrorism threats. Federal and state agencies actively work to disrupt these groups, as evidenced in the 2020 indictments. So what I'm trying to tell you, my friends, if you don't get it, this whole time we sitting up there, and I'm going to read some more for you, but this whole time we sitting up here and we're talking about Charlie Kirk was a white supremacist or whatever. And I'm not here and then Max to defend him. Come on, guys, 520 people in the chat room, 15 likes. Make sure you double tap the screen and hit the like button. I would appreciate it. We're sitting up here and we're talking about Charlie Kirk was this mad white supremacist and this, that, and other and the third. But I'm telling you about the actual white supremacists that are there. And how this area in Utah has actually, and it looks like the state of Utah has been playing playground to white supremacists, to the accord that you even have the FBI director coming in and he's talking about Utah, how it's used. I'm sitting here and I'm reading to you how they have prison gangs that are inside Utah's prisons and in the street that are actively roaming around in the street recruiting people. You have the FBI director right here that says that he warned, and I want to read this again. In 2025, intelligence experts warned that white supremacist groups were expanding their presence in Utah. Law enforcement officials stated that while a small percentage of members planned violent activities, infiltration was necessary to monitor these groups. Now, I'm not saying that these groups don't have the right to exist, because in the Constitution, they have the right to exist. That's not my argument. My argument segues somewhere else, where you have a lot of people that are jumping on, and I said this before, jumping on this Charlie Kirk bandwagon. Oh, he was a racist. He was this. He was that. He was this. I've not seen any recruiting. Well, the FBI director thinks differently, Britt. Is that fair? The FBI thinks differently. The CIA thinks differently than you. And unless you have the job with actually going in and interviewing people or interacting with people to see if they are or they aren't, then everything else is just based on basically your interaction on the daily scene. And I don't think that's pivoted to actually having a discussion that would revolve around demographics per se. You understand what I'm saying? So I think what the FBI director is doing here, and the CIA evidently, because in 2020, the FBI director warned that racially motivated violent extremism, primarily the white supremacists, constituted the majority of domestic terrorism threats. Federal and state agencies work openly and evenly to work to distribute these groups, as evidence in the 2020 indictments, which were in Utah. I can read more for you if you like. Here's some more condemnation. Here's the one that I want to put down on the what's the name. In 2020, federal charges were filed against 21. This is the actual indictment they're talking about. In 2020, federal charges were filed against 21 gang members and associates at SAW, which is Silent Aryan Warriors, and SAC, Soldiers of Aryan Culture, which are based in where? Utah. And have been since, and this was back in 2020. We're now in 2025, heading into 2026. You understand that? So we're talking 6 years back. Guys, make sure y'all double tap the screen and hit the like button. Over 600 people in here. We can't hit the like button. Come on, guys. And I want to read this. This is recent activity in Utah. In February of this year, 2025, dozens of members of the Patriot Front marched in Harriman, Utah, holding signs that read, "Deport invaders." A former FBI agent described the group as a classic white supremacist group whose recruitment is expanding across the country, including in Utah. This is what they said. So what I'm telling you is, Utah been had a problem. Utah's been on the front for white supremacists and things like that, or whatever. So if you point your anger at Charlie Kirk, who definitely wasn't a hooded Klansman. Charlie Kirk wasn't a, what's the name? And I'm not taking off on him, because he did say some things that were offensive. Don't get me messed up. He did say some things that were offensive. I say things that are offensive sometimes. When you're a maverick in the game, this is what happens. You speak from your heart sometimes, instead of speaking from your mind, which is properly in what's the name? Oh, I say fuck you, things like that. But if you wonder. But the point is, in a general circumference, everybody is like this. So what I'm saying, yeah, everybody, thank you. He said it right before I even said it. Everybody's offended nowadays. Softies, exactly. So we got a lot of softies out there, whatever. So that's why lately you've been seeing me do, the PG rated, PG-13. But every now and then I curse, if you're here. Racism has been in Utah. White supremacist groups have been in Utah at least up until 2020 anyway. At least up until February 2025 or whatever. So what I got to say to Black America and people that don't fall in line with these people, where was y'all's antennas? Once again, you're seeing that so make the record show, okay? Make sure the record show that Davin Lewis, once again, is giving you a peril to something that you might have not known. You understand what I'm saying? Goodbye. So why do blacks complain? Nobody's complaining here. We're talking about something. We're having a conversation. You're disruptive. My point is, make sure that you keep on record that Davin Lewis told you once again, there have been these separatist groups all the way back to 2020 in Utah. And one of the largest one, Patriot Front, is known nationally, and in some cases internationally, because of some of the ties that they have. Now, I'm not here to knock on Patriot, what's the name, or whatever they want to do in their life. That's their business. But my point is, as long as it's not violent, as long as it's not as simple, because there's African Americans that have what's the name groups. There's Latinos that have groups. There's Asians that have groups, and they're against people. You understand what I'm saying? But as long as your directive is in the fashion of nonviolent, I don't have any way of interrupting that. Come on, guys. 812 people in here. We only got 55 lights. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not Wesley Snipes. I don't look nothing like Wesley Snipes, but that was mighty racist of you. Utah has a lot. Somebody says Utah has a low crime rate, but Utah also is giving birth to white supremacists that are put on the DOG's hit list. So you got to explain that to me. Just because listen, I live in an area As you hear right there, that's lawn care that you hear in the background there. That's lawn care. I live in Connecticut. I live in a mostly white state. 37% of my state is Italian American. You understand what I'm saying? I've lived in Connecticut for the better part of all my life, more than anywhere else in the entire United States. I frequent Connecticut, New York, and Jersey. More so New York than anywhere else because of my close circumference living in it, where it's multiple nationalities of people. And I know that most of these coward people that we're talking about, when they step a foot in Brooklyn at 3 o'clock in the morning, talking about, all with white soldiers, all with white, they wouldn't do it. So, you understand what I'm saying? Because I know the boys down there, they ain't gonna go to certain neighborhoods to do that. Trust me when I tell you this. They coming out with them things. Trust me. I'm right near Connecticut. It can be very white. It can be. It is very white. It depends on where you go. Like if you go to Hartford, the demographic switches. You go to Bridgeport, the demographic switches. In the area I'm at, I don't live in either one of those two, so the demographic is very different. Over 1,000 people in here. Guys, make sure you double tap the screen and hit the like button. Y'all goofy. Y'all out here disrespecting this man yet on his page. Oh, who's disrespecting? Charlie don't deserve that. Yeah, he's touting his own horn because he has nothing to do with black and white. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Mark of Cain is. Do you know what Mark of Cain is? God bless, man. I'm right near Connecticut. No, I don't look like Wesley Snipes in any fashion. The world is in trouble if we say people don't wake up, and very much is. Campbell Samuels is a great man. He spoke the truth to the community like Charlie Kirk, and when they passed, the community had no mourning for them. That is very interesting, Bert. I live in Arizona. What's up, Mesa and Tempe? I've been out there. I was born and raised in Newburgh. Okay, shout out to Newburgh, Orangeburg, all that out there, Rockland County. Randy, nothing does. This guy's just tooting his own horn. I'm tooting my own horn. Okay, let's get you out of here, Adrian. Sounds like you're jealous. Why was Black America when Kevin Samuels died and they were grieving? I got something for that, Bert. I got something for that. You do, brother. You do. No, I don't look like no Wesley Snipes, my friend. What is the Mark of Cain? Most of the people come in here, they tell me I look like DMX or ASAP Rocky. I've never had somebody tell me I look like Wesley Snipes. Oh, nothing like Wesley Snipes, bro. Many people are unable to comprehend the level of travesty and tragedy recently happening. Charlie was at the tip of the spear when it came to trying to get us to talk about things without violence. I think so too, and I think some of those conversations just 15, maybe 20 years ago would have been had, you know, in a regular world. I think, and I'll say it again, I think this woke generation stuff and being implemented to people and spoon-fed to people kind of led to things like that, in my personal opinion. Guys, make sure you double tap the screen and hit the like button. I appreciate it. We need humans for humans. What does black and white have to do with the murder of Charlie? It has a lot to do with it and the ongoing plight of different things. Somebody's talking about what does black and white have to do with the murder of Charlie? It has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of people, and I'm going to segue in a minute. Can we move on like we do bad and good black folks get killed? Can we move on like we do when bad and good black folks get killed? I don't agree with that sentiment. I don't think anybody, you know, there's a passage in the Bible, if anybody knows it, help me out. But it says, do not mock the dead. I remember this very specifically. Do not mock the dead. Do not make travesty of the dead. Do not insult the dead, no matter if they were good or bad or bad people. Thank you, JR. And so I don't agree with that. I think if my grandmother heard me saying something like that, yo, forget that dude, da-da-da-da, she would flip out. My grandmother on my mother's side and my father's side, they both was very into, you know what I mean, that type of plight. I don't think it's a good idea to sit around. It's not good for your soul. It's not good for karma. It's not good for anything. When you yell out somebody, yeah, I'm glad they passed away. I'm glad they're gone, or whatever. Unless they touch the kid or something like that, and it's just like, it's just so infinite that you can't look past it. You know what I'm saying? Or took advantage of somebody old or something like that. Those things, I think they don't deserve no forgiveness. You understand? You can't explain that to me. Yeah, do not pass the insult past souls. Yeah, we acting like Brody wasn't marking the deal. The deal. What does that say? The dead whole time he was alive, but rest in peace for sure. Can I ask what is your overall message today? My overall message is this: get out of my chat. I don't deal with absolutists. But Paul mocked the sting of deaths. You know, this is the thing. You got to know when to. I think there's a fine line when it comes to tit for tat. Let me explain what I mean here. And I'm going to play some videos for you, so don't worry. Just stay here with me. When we're talking about tit for tat, this is a segment that I like to go into where I actually interact with people and I actually read your questions. I know a lot of these bloggers, they depend on talking to you based on who donates. Well, a lot of people don't donate to me, and a lot of people don't like to hit the like button either. As you can see, I got over 840 people in here, but only 106 likes. And that's the way it goes. When you get online, and we start getting into this verbatim, and I saw this happen with Kevin Samuels because I saw somebody mention that. And I remember at the time, the person who made fun of him was Vivica A. Fox. Very horrible woman, if you ask me. Very horrible, very misguided, it just inside her soul. Because she said many of things that were just mean, in my opinion. So I'm not very much a fan of Vivica Fox's personality. Her acting, it's okay. But her personality, nah, I wouldn't be around her. With that being said, I watched them make fun of Kevin Samuels, and I knew how much that made me feel in disgust, and it made a lot of men of color feel in disgust. And now we fast forward, and we have a gentleman, Charlie Kirk, and I want to say, from somebody that's half black and half Cuban, I'm telling you for a fact, most African Americans did not know who Charlie Kirk was. Most African Americans or whites did not know about the activity of white supremacists that they have in the state of Utah prior to Charlie being on board there, with Charlie not having even any ties to these white supremacist groups. Patriot Front, the HAW, SAC, none of them. You understand what I'm saying? He had no ties to none of these. There might be, and what you make a mistake is, and I even say this for Tariq Nasheed and his old FBA thing. When you get these groups like Patriot Front and all these other ones, you get people that are loose tied to them. The people that might be in these Patriot groups or whatever, they may not do this type of activity. But there's people that come in from nowhere and they say, you know what? We're going to go and we're going to blow something up. And then the same way you get people from the FBA. You'll get them online and they'll say certain things or whatever that Tariq Nasheed may not be familiar with they've said, or things of that nature or whatever. But right now, let me tell you something. This whole argument and discussion has brought race into play on both spectrums. And on both spectrums, people are wrong. And I'm going to tell you how you're wrong on both sides. So hopefully I can quell this a little bit, because I know some good stand-up white people that are friends of mine, that have been friends of mine for a long time. I know some good stand-up black people that have been friends of mine for a very, very long time. And the one thing I don't want to see either one of them do is come head-to-head because over some political crap that 15 years ago, 10 years ago even, we would have never even had a discussion about. We would have never had a discussion about. When we tell all this back, we got one thing to blame: the rule of anonymity and the rule of being able to gestate and express yourself in your innermost demons, where in person or in certain company, these people wouldn't say these things because they knew they were wrong. Or in some cases, some people believe that their internet personality extracts into reality when they're in person, which I'm going to show y'all that in a minute too. You have people and you have kids and you have adults now, especially if they've been born around 95, 90, that don't know anything but the internet. Their whole personality is bent on the internet and shocking and awing people. Listen to me and hear me out very clear, because it's going to come up. I heard a senator that's talking about this the day after I did my piece up at Trump's. So I'm going to tell you this, and get but two. Make sure you check in with me, all right? I got some stuff for you. You got a thing on the internet now where personalities on the internet feel that they can say and do or whatever. It's backed by people from the woke generation, and I'm not jestizing or whatever. I'm telling you what it is. You get these people that are online, especially in the black African American community that's highlighted right now. That doesn't mean it's totally them, but there's a lot of African Americans that are in the ages of, I say 20, no, I'll even go lower than that. I'll say 16 through 28. Do not understand the black America that the generation just above 28 does understand. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning that, in my opinion, and it's not just inclusive of them, but many others, they've been taught how to be victims. Everything is a victim, 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 victim. I know exactly what I am. And yo soy la cubano, la mareno, ahí se, tú sabes, Trump steam. Entonces, ya con su boca. See, it's always one of them that want to come in and, he know he black. What does that mean? I'm supposed to be a victim? No, we don't do that over here. Does he know he's black? That means you look at yourself as being lower class in this country. And that's the problem. So we got a lot of people in African American community. I'm gonna put y'all on to something. One thing about African Americans or whatever is the fact that a lot of them want to sit around and at the same time they want to be on an equal playing field as whites, but at the same time they want to remind everybody within the culture, you know you black, right? Don't you try that. You know you black now. You know you black now. You can't do that now. All right? You can't do that. I'm gonna go over here and tap dance and shine some silver. I'll be back. Don't you try nothing now. Don't you try to read. That's how I almost said, you know what I mean? It translates. This is how it translates. You understand what I'm saying? No, you don't have to be invoked. I don't want you to be invoked. Go find somebody else for inspiration. You need a friend. Charlie was a demon, was he here? Well, what about the white supremacists that I just mentioned? Oh, no. You got to go too. We don't do side discussions in my chat room. You're right about that, brother. You're right about that. Yeah, they don't want... See, when you're talking to some people online, you can't go too deep into conversations because a lot of people that are listening to you have to realize they're not on the same plateau as you mentally. And a lot of these people are mentally ill as well. That's why you'll see people in the chat room, they do things like that or whatever. You don't even know what woke means, bro. I don't know what woke means because I'm dumb. You right. Adamus Muse, you right. All us niggas is dumb. You right. You been here for 2 years and you ain't got no subscribers. Lord. You right. Let us dumb niggers go on over here. You see, there's a lot of ways to insult people. And I think one of the insults that's coming around right now, I think that African Americans, especially African American women, need to slow down with the what's the name. I talked about it before, and I said, yo, slow down with the Charlie Kirk stuff because there's going to be some people that are really dedicated to that guy. You understand what I'm saying? And I also told people, you can go back and watch my old lives. I said it just 2-3 days ago. I said, listen, we need to really get some of the women to stop talking the loudest online. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about because a lot of these women were online, and I have to particularly say black women, and it doesn't mean there's any malice put into that, but there was a lot of black women online that were talking really violent, really headstrong about what they believed in, whereas the men weren't as much. You understand? And when you did see a man talk about a black man, they'd be very subtle in what they were talking about. But I want to give you some examples so you'll understand what I'm talking about, because a lot of people don't understand what I'm talking about exactly. And they think that I'm just centering it in on women of color. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm talking about exactly what they've been saying. And one of the people that I like to point out is this person right here, which I want to show her right here. Oh yeah, now we gotta talk about that too. But I'm gonna talk about this guy too in a minute. But hold on one second. I want y'all to hear some of the rhetoric that goes on in these conversations with these girls. Here's one perfectly right here. I want y'all to hear this one, and then you'll understand how violent these girls are talking. So here we go. I'm gonna let this play right here. So letting it load up. It's a little slow loading up for some reason. I think I gotta restart this. And y'all take a listen for yourself and tell me if this doesn't sound violent.
They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith.
Now that's Charlie Kirk's widow talking.
You talking about the Charlie that just died? He preached God's mercy for what? Hold on, Lily. Now we understand that you are grieving right now, so your anger is directed towards the wrong people. But who the fuck is they? I can honestly say our community had nothing to do with this here, boo boo. You need to be saying the person name that actually did it, because they is not us. Okay? Because don't start no riot. We ain't do shit. They means Tyler and his parents must be. That's what you're talking about. Because, yeah, them was the only people that, was involved in this shit. It was not they. Y'all been so quick to put us all, hell property. Don't break your ass over.
Okay, let me turn that down. If y'all can't make room out of this gibberish, what's going on? If y'all can't make room out of this gibberish, this almost sitting on the plantation speech that she's giving here, let me break it down for you. Charlie Kirk's wife, I have not heard, and I've heard her speak twice now. I have not heard Charlie Kirk's wife even implement, urge, even suggest that Black Americans had anything to do with her husband's murder. The killer himself has been captured, or the one that they think has been captured, and his face has been plastered on this. Now, what has me confused is this was put up September the 13th. You got to understand that. This was put up September the 13th, this post. I'm going to play some more for you. This was light. This was light. But I said this 3 days ago. I said, why are all these girls online trying to pivot and like almost place themselves in this Charlie Kirk thing because they feel the simple fact there's some views to get off of this. They don't care about this. They ain't even know who Charlie Kirk was. Trust me when I tell you this. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't even know. You don't understand and you can't keep up, Bert. Let's get you up out of here, Bert. You're trying to ask questions where there's no questions to be asked. You're asking questions where there's no questions to be asked. I knew he was going to be a problem. My point is here, in this video, now let's get you out of here. God is the devil. No, we don't do that. Now I'm a white man lover. No, it's not a white man lover. It's talking about where, somebody came in here and said, you're a white man lover. When they say stuff like that, you got to understand, audience. That is an African-American audience is otherwise fearful in a segment, not all of them, fearful in a segment of white people. They're scared of you. Trust me. And one thing I know in particular about Black Americans is you ain't got the motherfucking numbers to take on these white nationalist groups that are actively recruiting. Even if you had the FBA front line with 15 shotguns in one person's hands, you still wouldn't have enough numbers. Why? Because they run 62% of the fucking population. They run the militaries. They run everything here. Now, if you want to take it off and take a flight and go somewhere else, good luck to you. Start your own nation or whatever. But if you're going to stay here, this is what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the odds. It's like going into a boxing ring, right? Look at it like this instead of looking at it as victims all the time, because this victim shit is making people look weak as hell perceptionally wise, and that's what I can't have. I can't have these chicks on here always panning to and plagiarizing to the society. We's victims, we's victims, we's victims, and it's always this type right here. This type. No, ma'am, you're a weak woman. I know strong women. You're a weak woman. You lend on victimhood day after day after day after day to make your life through. And that's why you particularly wanted to hop online on September 13th, days after this is going down, and point out this man's wife and say that this man's wife is suggesting that Black Americans had something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. I find it disingenuous. I find it dishonest. I think any woman that has any type of morality or anything else would call this broad out too. So next time as I play this, make sure you listen to what she says, because what she's trying to do, she's trying to victimize another man's death. You understand what I'm saying? Where there's no justification for her even having this conversation. Nobody, including the FBI, CIA, anybody else, has said that anybody Black has anything to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. So why is this woman online with over 512,000 views telling otherwise? You understand what I'm saying? Has anybody in here heard me talk anything about Cash Apps? You are a hating motherfucker, Jersey Mike. God damn. You's a hating motherfucker. This guy right here, he's made over 18 different profiles coming back here. That's why I tell you, there's a lot of nuts here on this line. You understand? So I'm going to play this again for you. And guys, make sure you do hit up the Cash App, because there's some motherfuckers like that this person that actually comes into my chat room probably 30 or 40 times. He didn't ask for Cash Apps. Like, there's a whole group of African Americans that sit online literally and harass exclusively other African Americans or people they think look like them. So if you see people like that in my chat or whatever, this matter of fact, just pay attention to this fact. As you're hearing this woman that sit online and complain that wasn't us Black folks, they participate in harassing themselves. They participate in harassing other people of color. So I don't want to hear anything about no white separatists if you ain't on point with the conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you're goofy. But I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. You cry selectively. You understand what I'm saying? While you do dirt in the background. That's what I'm talking about with knuckles. You do dirt in the background to your own, but want to get online and play like you're a fucking victim when it comes to shit like this. And this story has fucking shit to do with you. Nothing. You are electing to put yourself into the conversation. So it sounds like to me, by the over example of all these chicks that are sitting online talking this shit, and it's, like I said, this video has 512,000 views. It was posted September the 13th. That means you knew well offhand before, after September the 13th. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me that this man was already arrested. Today's the 15th. On Saturday, if you need some clarity, that was the 13th, and where this video was posted. Now, once I have 3 copies of this video where it was posted. Now, I want to let you hear what this broad said again. And please ignore the plantation talk.
They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful. You talking about the Charlie that just died? He preached God's merciful what? Hold on, Lee. Now we understand that you are grieving right now, so your anger is directed towards the wrong people. But who the fuck is they? I can honestly say our community had nothing to do with this here.
Now,
You need to be saying.
I want to stop right there. You notice she equated they and made it into a thing, manipulated it into they were talking about black people. I don't know who this they is. Well, if you don't know who the they is, man, please eloquently be quiet. If you don't know that they, she was talking about, because they could be liberals, they could be Republicans, they could be Democrats. No, you formed and sat there and said, hey, listen, you understand what I'm saying? I don't know who this they is, but it's the white folks. It's the white folks that's blaming us and the da-da-da-da-da. These women, and I'm going to play more of these women, like her, are in the thousands making these videos. And the reason they're making these videos is for 3 things. 1, they want to appear like victims. 2, they want to motherfucking go viral. 3, you understand what I'm saying? They want to keep up a narrative that is not there. This woman never said, and I'm going to play it for you again, and you tell me where she said, where you say she tried to add black people to the equation. Yeah, this one, there's tons of these girls that are online right now, and it's going to come out more, I guarantee you. There's tons of these girls right now online that have the same narrative. I'm going to play this for you again, and you listen with your ears, okay? Stop looking at her and listen with your ears, how she segues. You understand what I'm saying? You don't ask me no motherfucking questions, friend. You don't ask me no motherfucking questions. No, you'll never win with that. Let me tell you something real quick. Unless you know me or something like that, don't come in here if you've never spoken to me directly. So you're a Charlie Kirk supporter? No, I'm a true supporter. That's what I am. And one of the fundamental ways that I can protect the people that look closest to me is making sure that I call out the ones that's in between, that's putting people in peril. See, this little bitch right here, excuse my French, this little bitch right here puts black kids at risk. This little bitch right here and her lying to go viral puts black men at risk. This little bitch right here and her loud ass lying ass mouth to create a narrative puts motherfucking your uncle, puts your son, and puts everybody else in fucking jeopardy because of this bitch right here. And it does is like her looking to go viral. These hoes don't care about nothing but going viral. That's it. Now listen to this again in case you slow.
Have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful. You talking about the Charlie that just died? He preached God's merciful what? Hold on, Lee. Now we understand that you are grieving right now, so your anger is directed towards the wrong people. But who the fuck is they? I can honestly say our community had nothing to do with this here, boo boo. You need to be saying the person that actually did it, because they is not us. Okay? Because don't start no riot here. We ain't do shit. They means Tyler and his parents must be. That's what I'm. Because, yeah, them was the only people that, was involved in this shit. It was not they. Y'all be so quick to put us all hell to the no. This is one that we are not united and we do not stand together. We don't stand up out of this bitch, no. This right here is private property. Don't bring your ass over here talking about no damn they. No, him, them.
If anybody can't make out what she was talking about and all that slave jargon, because that's what it sounded like. Um, Notice how no foot lockers were broken into when he was. Get off my. What's the name with that? Yeah, I might even flag you for saying that. My point is, did y'all not? Yeah, that was manipulation. I'm trying to tell you, like, you didn't get it. Like, it would be one thing if Charlie Kirk's wife came out and said directly, "Yo, I think African Americans had something to do with my husband's death," and then we found out that the shooter was white. I'd be like, "All right, look, bro, you in the foul for that." You understand what I'm saying? She never said it. Y'all not paying attention to me. She never said it. His wife never said anything like that. This woman took it upon herself because how she internally feels, and she crafted and manipulated a narrative that this woman never even said. And that's why I played it for you twice. There are people like this, African American women specifically, I'm finding, and a few men too, and I'm going to play some more videos, but I talked about this 3 or 4 days ago. Why are these bitches online rebel rousing, acting like they motherfucking running shit? Now, this works with them simp-ass men that y'all deal with, but it don't work with men like myself and others I know. This right here is a whole problem within itself, within the dynamic of the Charlie Kirk conversation. Bitch, you are basically thrusting us into a conversation that has nothing to do with us. In fact, I haven't heard one white person yet say that some niggas has something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. Not a one. I looked for it. But what I do hear is, I hear a lot of white folks talking about, well, how the fuck you sit up here making fun of this man and you saw he got assassinated? And I would say the same thing. We would have the same vigor and anger if it was a black person that got assassinated, because I've seen white people grieve with black people, and y'all have too. Numerous fucking times in this country. You can't take 10 or 15 or 20 motherfuckers. No whether you can take 10 or 15 or 20 black girls and put it all into perspective. All black girls think like that either. That's not even motherfucking what's the name. I want to pay attention right here to a chick that said, Brooklyn Junie. You need some Malcolm literature in your life, because you live inside a house, inside the house, my brother. First of all, I'm not your fucking brother. Second of all, you can go to hell. Third of all, not once, but twice, including both times during Black History Month, I took everybody to where Malcolm was shot and killed at and did 2 tours of it, all right? The first one that I went to was one of the lowest viewed videos I had ever published in my life, but I still published it because I thought it was for black kids or whatever. The second one I did, which was this year, when I went and visited where Malcolm was shot and killed at in Harlem, it got 5,000 views, and I think 3 people donated to me. So don't come in here with that, I need to know that. I'm taking people to Allah School of Mecca. You understand? You do not know who you're talking to. And just like I said, people like Brooklyn Junie, who I'm pretty sure is a woman, this is the problem right now within black culture. Loudmouth bitches like you. You do not know me, bitch. Do your research before you start talking. The videos are on the page. Now, I want to talk to white folks for 2 seconds here. We have a problem within black American culture. I identify with black American culture, but some of them don't identify with me because I'm half Cuban. So some of them are very racist. But let me give you an example of what's going on here. We have a problem where y'all, and I'm talking about the men that have power, have given some of these women, not all of them, some of them are grateful, some of them are working to help the communities and things like that. Let's extract them from the conversation. But y'all have given power to some of these bitches, or think that they have power. Some of these black women that think they have power, that are allowed to operate like this. This woman is telling a complete fucking lie. And her lie, perhaps, and the lie of many others that I'm going to play the videos for, might have led up, if any of y'all are not thinking, to simply having HBCUs have to be put under protection because of fear of threat. You understand what I'm saying? It sounds like to me you don't identify with saving your own fucking people. Let me ask you a question, Glenn Martin. How many hospitals do you own? Huh? How many triage units do you own? Huh? Come on, Glenn, tell us. How many guns do you own right now? Could you equip every last one of us with one? Tell us, Glenn. Huh? How many farms do you own, Glenn? Could you feed all of us if we under duress? Could you, Glenn? Come on, Glenn. You was talking to this a minute ago. Glenn, huh? Could you house all of us? Huh, Glenn? Answer the question, Glenn. Glenn's got no fucking answer. And you know why Glenn's got no fucking answer? Because I'm telling many of y'all, listen to me very carefully when I tell you this. There are three groups within African American culture now. There's motherfuckers like fucking Glenn who use shame and text. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Shut the fuck up. You don't understand the motherfucking rap. He said, let me tell you what he wrote back, y'all. That's why I just blocked him. Let me tell you why I just blocked him. This is the type of dumb motherfuckers you have. I have a job. I don't want a gun. I own a car. This nigga, like, this is how stupid they are. Not all of them, but a lot of them are stupid as fuck. He writes back, I have a job. Who employs you? A white man. I don't want a gun. If you wanted a gun, where would you have to go? You would have to go through the extraction of going to, get your gun permit by mostly white staff. I own a car. Where do you go register your car at? With what government? These motherfuckers are so extracted from reality that it's hard to talk to them because the only thing they already understand is cry, 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 cry. Look weaker, 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 weaker. There was a time in this country motherfuckers used to be scared of niggas. And y'all soft motherfuckers sitting up there letting these broads talk for y'all. Y'all letting women talk for y'all. And not intelligent. Listen to this woman talk again. See, I understand what I'm talking about. Listen to her again.
They have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful. You talking about the Charlie that just died? He preached God's merciful what? Hold on, Lily. Now we understand that you are grieving right now, so your anger is directed towards the wrong people. But who the fuck is they? I can honestly say our community had nothing to do with.
Who said that the community had anything to do with? What did that woman say? The black community. This woman literally made up a narrative out of thin air. She literally chose to get online. Listen to me, black Americans. This bitch put your sons, your daddy, and everybody else at risk because she wanted to get some views and some motherfucking likes. This bitch just made up a lie. Well, maybe some of y'all stand on lies as long as it's getting to the bag, right? Getting to the bag. She can lie as long as she getting to the bag. You better get that white monetization while you speaking pro-black. Want to hear another one? Here's another one. Oh, wait, it gets worse. Want to hear another one? Oh, you thought it was just one. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. Check this one out.
So you mean to tell me these European immigrants is 2 for 2? So not only the man who took the life of Charlie Kirk is a European immigrant as well, and a Trump supporter, okay? But the person who did the school thing in Colorado is also a European immigrant and a Trump supporter. This is crazy. Y'all are 2 for 2. Y'all should be embarrassed at this point. It's embarrassing how bad y'all try to blame black people for all this violence that goes on in the world when most of the atrocities that happen in y'all own community, in y'all own back door. It's these kids that y'all raising doing this, okay? Y'all are raising these people to be like this. Where's the mother? Where's the father? Do they have both parents? Because that's the things y'all say to black people. Where's the father? There's no father in the home. They might have fathers in the home. I'm just ODing right now because these are the things that y'all say to us. Now, with that being said, with these 2 kids who, because they're not really kids, they're like teenagers, but they're like young adults, whatever it is, right? Who grew up in 2 parent households with 2 loving European immigrant parents who taught them about white supremacy and taught them how to love Trump, taught them all of the things that they know. And they turned around and did this. And y'all still upset that it wasn't a black person or an immigrant. It was you. Well, it was an immigrant, a European immigrant, but it wasn't a Hispanic immigrant or a black person or, it wasn't who y'all wanted it to be. And that's why y'all really mad. I know y'all butt hurt today.
I can't make this up. Another one. Y'all mad because it wasn't nobody black. Who the fuck said it was anybody black? And why are you sitting up there Why are you sitting up there? Hold on one second. Why are you sitting up there and once again trying to create a narrative out of thin air? Are y'all not paying attention to this? I'm starting to think these chicks, and I noticed something in common with them. All of them almost talk like they sitting in a field and it's 1862. You know what I mean? Like they're not very proficient. It's like this old school sitting on the porch type of rhetoric. You know what I mean? I don't say to it. It's too bad school didn't have books. I don't know what that means, but we're not letting anybody named Tommy the Cat sitting here. Being black wasn't even part of the conversation, bro. I don't know if you're talking to me, or you talking to me, or Toro. You talking to me, or you talking about, yeah, okay, because I don't remember this being part of the conversation when we were talking about Charlie Kirk. Who in the Bible was killed for speaking the truth? God bless that. It's propaganda. Media and internet people need to learn to get all the info, not be sheep. I will agree with that, Allison, but the problem is in Black American culture, what I'm seeing more and more of right now is people involuntarily throwing themselves in a peril in a conversation that has absolutely nothing to do with them. See, for you to sit there and have the same gumption and say, oh, well, this conversation has nothing to do with me. Okay, it's just that. It has nothing to do with you. That means stay silent on the conversation. That doesn't mean walk in fear. Anybody knows me. No, I'm the last person to promote that. No, what I'm telling you is that you're sitting here and you're having all these conversations. The only person I'm seeing is women after women after women after women trying to equate it to what's modernly day going on in African American culture and not taking any type of responsibility as far as what's going on. There's so many things I could go in with that and I'm not. But my point is, you're trying to pass blame on everybody, but you're not taking responsibility for what you're doing. And that is a problem, not only in the culture, but also in society. These women are literally hopping online, making up stories. Now I'm going to play another one for you. Why not, right? So you could see the peril of this and how this type of rhetoric from these women is dangerous. Because mind you, as you look at these women and see how frail they are, whatever, you think they're going to pick up a gun with you and walk the line with you as shit go down? I can guarantee you, Bobby, 85% of them won't. You think that they're going to pick up a knife or anything else and fight with you? No, they're not. They're going to sit back and tell the men, you got to handle that. They're after us now. Listen to this one.
I'm going to say it because y'all can't fight me. For the people who are like, that was his political opinion. Okay, pause. Let's run it back to grade school and discuss what is a political opinion. A political opinion is something like, how high should taxes be? Should the states have more control than the federal government? Should we regulate guns more or less? See, these are political opinions. You can agree, disagree, debate them. That's politics.
I hear you, Kyra.
Step into saying things like black women don't have the same cognitive ability as white people, or that black people were better off in slavery and Jim Crow because they committed less crimes. That's not a political opinion. That is racism and white supremacy. When you claim that the 1 in 5 women who report SA are liars, that's not a political opinion. That is misogyny. When you argue that even a 10-year-old child who is SA'd should be forced to carry that pregnancy to term, that is not a political opinion. That is violence and asinine, honestly. And when you say that we should bring back live, televised executions for children as young as 12 to watch, that is not a political opinion. That's apparently a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Me too, Nathaniel.
And let me be clear, violence is never the answer, and I do not stand for it. But we also can't ignore the fact that for years, this person promoted violence
and for years, I went through her page, and for the years that she's been on there for the past 6 years, she ain't never talked about Charlie Kirk a day in her life. That's why I stopped her. When she said for years, he's went on to that. I said, why you ain't said nothing in years? Oh, y'all want another one? And another one, DJ Khaled voice. And another one. Give me 1 second, guys. I want y'all to see this shit so you'll know that I'm not making it up. You understand what I'm saying? I want y'all to see it.
MAGA, please be quiet, you desperate Republican ass-kissing
Thank you,
white
Mark.
woman wannabe. Tamara Housley posted a quote on her Instagram story stating that only the demonized celebrate death, assumingly referring to the passing of Charlie Kirk. I'm sure he's looking up at her right now in disgust. Because he's a racist. I guess the biracials with black moms can be weirdos too. I can see why her sister doesn't talk to her. The twin that we don't like is too far up her husband's butthole to get a clue. I knew Tamir was in the sunken place when she admitted that she paid for their wedding. Yes, a black woman foot the bill to marry a white man. Doing reparations backwards, I see. This is the same husband that said Trayvon Martin brought his own death to himself. Can we say that about your niece too? Or, now I'm no stranger to interracial dating, nor am I against it. Except when it comes to turning your back on your own community. I don't care how many times she picks out her afro to remind us of how black she is. I'm not falling for the propaganda. Hocus pocus it is because I'm boycotting Twitches this Halloween. Truly hate that she represents a core memory in my very happy childhood. It's an understatement to say how disappointed and saddened I am by the person that she has chosen to become. You're welcome, I love ya.
Once again, do y'all not notice what I was talking about? The shaming tactics. You have to really pay attention to the shaming tactics. Now, who she was talking about there, or as you guys know, Tia and Samara Murray. Their father is white. He's Jewish, I believe, and the mother is black. And yeah, this is, and make sure you understand too, this is the type of women, if you're an African American dude, that is supposed to be considered high class. That woman sounded like trash. Trash trying to be something that she absolutely wasn't. Here's another one. If you're not paying attention, these shaming tactics that this particular brand of black, look, so if you don't understand, that last clip that I played, the reason she was talking like that, because she believes in her mind that invokes, yeah, just spewing venom. She believed that invokes some type of strength, that invokes some type of power, her presence, or whatever. Notice that she's got a hair full of weave that are meant to look like the real hair that grows out of Tia and Tamari's real head. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just so much, and I like to say it's a personality thing that's going on with a lot of these women that think like this. Not all black women, just the women that think like this. They're very hateful inside. They spend loads of time pretending that they're victims, and now they're online lying to audiences. Here's another one. Now this one, she speaks for everybody.
Here are just some of Charlie Kirk's statements and why people shouldn't be shaming anybody for how they feel about his death, especially minority communities. Black people are better off as slaves. Black women have less brain processing power, which is crazy because we're the highest educated demographic in the country, by the way. 10-year-olds should have to give birth to their rapist babies. Execution should be public, quick, and televised. And children should be able to watch. Black people are only in high up positions because of affirmative action, not because they are qualified. He called George Floyd a scumbag who is unworthy of the attention he's receiving. He said that gun deaths are an inevitable price worth paying to safeguard the Second Amendment. He told Taylor Swift that she needs to submit to her husband. He said transgenderism is a mental disorder. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He called Islam a danger to the United States. He said Jewish communities have been pushing hatred against rights. And there's many, many more. So do everyone a favor if you're one of those moral superiority folks and kick rocks.
Do y'all see the pattern here? Do I need to show y'all more? Because I got more of them. It seems like it's an active effort to keep you scared. And that active effort, unfortunately, it's not coming from white people, even though some white people are involved in it. Oh, we ain't going to separate the poor white trash. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's why I said a lot of people ain't familiar with my show. We don't back poor white trash over here. Now, I have tons of white friends that are stand-up white folks that'll vouch for me, and I'll vouch for them. They'll fight with me, and I'll fight with them. But what I don't take pride in is I don't take pride in these separatist groups either, so don't get mistaken. You understand what I'm saying? But when you have women like that are talking online, and like I said, I've got at least 15. I spent time and I found 15 more. So I'm gonna play those too so you can see it. There's a problem with that. And the problem is, these women are outside and they're yelling about warmongering and the black people this and the black people that. Excuse my French for those in the back. Bitch, you don't speak for me. I don't fucking know you. And you don't speak for the culture. And what I'm saying is there's way too many women out here warmongering and talking. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's way too many. Now, to the average person that grew up decent, that sounds fucking disgusting. Yeah, it was warmongering. That sounded disgusting. Every last one of them things that them women said, one, you got to find it was consistent. That's why I said they're all working off the same vibration. They're all working off the same type of mentality. Victimhood. Every last one of them started with what? Racism. Every last one of them, even though it wasn't pointed out, even though it wasn't inclusive in the conversation. And get me wrong, if I was here and if I was brought in the scene on the conversation and they had thought that it was a black shooter instead of a white shooter, whatever, trust me, I've been one of the first ones to argue with them. You understand what I'm saying? I've been on here and have taken up for black people since the beginning of my channel, and they have done nothing to help me. Instead, they will flag my channel. They will leave all kinds of messages and shit. They've done everything in their power that they wouldn't do to a Charlie Kirk. But still, if it was wrong, you understand what I'm saying? I would take up for that because it's just the right thing to do. That's why I said these are people that never listened to my rhetoric, so they don't know my background, they don't know how I think, anything like that. That's why I don't even sit the time to sit there and prove nothing to them. You a stranger. What I got to prove to you? My point is, you get a ton of people out here that have been raised and reared, especially if they're around the ages of 16 through 28, on how to professionally be a victim. You understand? How to professionally be a victim. Anything that happens to them terrible, they are a victim. Sometimes, motherfuckers, it's a stroke of luck or misfortune that brings you to where you at. You understand what I'm saying? For example, I remember one time I went out and I had made probably like $3,000, right? I fucked around, and this is when I was in the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. No, people are victims. Don't get me wrong. People are victims, including when it comes to racism. People are victims. If you attack an old woman, and we've seen it in the New York City tri-state area, if you attack an old woman that's 70-something or a man that's 70-something because they're Jewish, you deserve the worst. If you steal from someone that's old, or you steal from them because of their race, or you attack somebody because of their color, or you attack somebody because of their gender, or whatever, you all belong on the same island, may it set ablaze and be done with, in my opinion. This is the core. There's a whole bunch of different factors within society that make society horrible nowadays. Mental illness would be a top priority. Racism would probably be the last. Genderism, which is on the rise because of a lot of women out here nowadays. They're prioritizing gender over their own culture. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I can say that specifically for black women. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. They prioritize gender over their own culture, meaning they'd rather deal with another woman, and in most cases they don't even like women, than deal with the men or the totality of their, you know, it's in a lot of ways, the women are stagnating the growth of the culture itself, in my opinion. But with this victimhood shit, I'm not with the victimhood shit. You understand what I'm saying? I don't come from a background where it was victim shit. I think there's certain situations where you can be a victim. I will agree with that. But just using every fucking opportunity to prevail online to get a couple likes or whatever. Okay, everybody, y'all ready? We're going to play victim. And then encourage other women to get online and do the same thing. That's not, Because then when my son goes outside by himself, or my son gets stopped by the police, or my son has this happen to him, or whatever the case may be, they not looking at my son like, oh, you might have to set it on him. If it's the police, they might feel that way. If it's some regular people, see, you don't call war if you ain't ready for war. My man told me that a long time ago. Don't call for wars, nigga, you ain't ready for. You understand? And what I mean by that is, you don't get on the line warmongering, and you ain't got, at the very least, a pistol. You don't get online warmongering unless you got at least 30 motherfuckers that's willing to shoot with you. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what you're up against. Did you hear what I read earlier? I'm talking about early in the podcast, if you guys are just getting here. I talked about, and it's very dangerous. Because, see, some men, let me tell you this, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Some men, depending on what race they are, they will respect a man of color before they'll respect a woman of color. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Even if it may appear to you that it's the opposite. Let me tell you why. The surface, it's a definition, and many of you, if you're white or whatever in my chat room, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. There's a disposition and a personality where a person is, how can I say, decent with you within the conversation. Then there's an element of where people respect you in the conversation. Then there's an element where people generally and honestly embrace you in the conversation, right? And so when you have a conversation that's bent on victimhood, it's kind of like the boy that cried wolf. And like I said, these are not implements of necessarily black culture. They're a combination of the two. They're a combination of old world Christianity that many African Americans have been steeped in generation after generation after generation. In other words, during a lot of people don't know this, but during the slave period, and I know a lot of people don't like to talk about that, but it has to be talked about because this was something that was actually implemented. They also did this with indentured servants that were white. And they also did this in England and throughout Europe when there was no translation from Latin to English. I think the first translation of the Bible was done in Germany. And then after that, it was done later on in English, if I'm correct, from that same German man who escaped with the passages. So what you get in your Bible today is actually a translation from Old World Latin, believe it or not. That was the only people that had this translated it from that time, from Hebrew to Latin. And so the Latin church used to read the Bible in Latin. You understand what I'm saying? Now, most people that are old Catholics or whatever, they know exactly what I'm talking about. The first Bible pages escaped with a man on a boat, and he went to Germany first. Then after Germany, he came to the Americas or whatever, and they translated it from German to that such. Of you hide your past, we can't learn from our mistakes. That's right. Come on, man. I'm trying to hear you out, but history does matter because the effect it has on the future. Love you, bro. Keep you in my prayers. No, that's not true. That's not true. History has to be altered. And this is what I mean by that. If you go back to the slave days or whatever the case may be, a lot of people use this newly transcribed version of the Bible to manipulate people. They did also within Europe, they manipulated people, including indentured servants. They manipulated them. If you need an example of that, I point to the biggest example you can see is in the movie 12 Years as a Slave, where you see a character that Brad Pitt played. He was an indentured servant. And Solomon Northup said, well, when you escape, you understand? I mean, when you go back and you carry this letter for me. Well, he could do so because he was an indentured servant. He wasn't a slave, per se. You understand what I'm saying? But they used to have to go to church. They used to have to get indoctrinized and assimilated just as well as the slaves were. If you watch the movie Django Unchained, he'll say, some may say I was raised to be Calvin's lawyer. And Jamie Foxx refers back to him. He says, some would say you's a nigga. Some would say you's a nigga. Pay attention to what I'm saying. So what they did was the whites and the indentured servants, you know what I'm saying, 1800 psychop, I would definitely agree with that. They basically had to go to the same church. They would sit out in the back of the house or whatever, most of the time. Sometimes they were rich enough, they would build their own little churches. They'd be little small areas or whatever. And you would see the slaves show up, well-dressed some cases or whatever they had, the best they had. And they would be mandated to attend. And within there, they would say things like, God made, like in 12 Years as a Slave, you'll remember one part with Patsy, where they're in the barn. And they're talking about how much each person picked that day. And this is not racist. This is a story, it's depicted from whatever, but you know what I'm saying. And he says, Patsy had picked the most cotton. And what does he say in return? He was like, it's a nigger among niggers, born for the field. God gave it to me. He said God gave it to her because the owner, the sense of proprietorship and owning slave cargo even was in that conversation. And You don't know what to listen for, so sometimes you hear things a different way than they are. You say, God gave it to me. Well, a lot of these people that are Black American have passed down these traditions year after year after decade after decade after decade. The same shit that they was taught in the motherfucking plantations. And one of the things they were taught in the plantations, you better be scared, them white folks is coming. Think about when they came out the pup. Oh, it's over for pup now. Them white folks is involved now. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. When it was Jay-Z, oh, Lord, them white folks is coming down. You better. Their fear translates into their assimilation. Their assimilation transcends into their obedience. So whether they'll give you this perception that they're fucking rebels, no, really, you're just an obedient bitch. Now, if I told you, I say, hey, everybody, we getting our guns today. We going up there, motherfucking, to handle this shit, whatever, whatever, whatever. We heard some Klan members is up there. Watch how many motherfuckers won't go with me. Ain't none of my business. I ain't going up there. Fuck all that shit. Now, if I tell them, hey, yo, y'all come roll with me. Some niggas up the block, man, that said some funny shit about my girl. Hold up, son. Let me go back to the house real quick. Let me go get this. Let me go get that. Yo, hold up. Let me call so-and-so so he can come up here too. Psychological programming. And now, since the girls are fully assimilated, for the most part, not all of them, but many of the girls are fully assimilated, they have now tasked them with the job of disinformation on both fronts. You got one set of girls that will sit there and they'll talk shit, and you got another set of girls that will sit over there and give directives on how you should think. You gotta pay attention. They act up, but if you say, let's go to war, they are scared for the right causes. And now, don't get me wrong, not act tough, because I mean, don't get me wrong, them niggas will run up the block in some cases. I've seen it. You understand what I'm saying? But for the most part, getting a group of them, getting a group of niggas to say, yo, this is what we standing on today. And it's in opposition of these folks that think like this, not the whole culture. These people that think like this. I say, yo, go get your gun. We running up the hill. We about to set it off. Niggas ain't coming. Niggas ain't coming. Niggas is not coming. Trust me on this. I've seen it before. I've been in the field for real. Like I said, I used to be in the streets before I got with it. But I was working with record companies and shit, like in a real way. You know what I'm saying? I was a guy, like people in my crew, they'll vouch for me. I was a guy that used to, yo, go get the biscuit. I'm going to get the biscuits. And it might be 6 or 7 biscuits in all different locations surrounding me and my crew at the time, but we doing our thing on the block, and that's how it was. You understand what I'm saying? Multiple calibers. You want a shotgun, go get the shotgun. You want the pistol, go get the pistol. Go get the 4.5. Go get the hammer with the snub. You know what I'm saying? Go get the joint with the silencer. This is real stories. These are real stories. No jokes, no makeup, no play here. You understand? I made the front page of paper. I did it in a real way, so I know what I'm talking about. The people I was associated with made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I got news articles to back it up. So I wasn't with no lightweight gumshoe people here. These girls, and I've seen it before, they used to do this stuff on the block. Now they do it online, and it's dangerous work. And it's irresponsible that you get online to create narratives about racism, but you're not going to the real emphasis of racism, which is going after people before the shit happens. Many people in this Charlie Kirk conversation, I want you to understand this and be bonus to this, did not know Charlie Kirk. They did not know anything about Charlie Kirk. What they're doing now is the same clips that many of us have been seeing, and I talked about Charlie Kirk here 2-3 years ago, going back continuously. There were some things that he said that I agreed with. There were some things that he said that I think you're a jerk for saying that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think you're a jerk for saying the thing about the gun thing. I didn't like that. That doesn't mean I wanted him dead. That doesn't mean that he deserves to be up out of here. And when you invoke, and you're on either side, and you're invoking that, because I see some white folks on here too. We ain't gonna skip over y'all. Some of y'all been on here celebrating too. That'll be next show. Okay, that'll be next show. Okay, con goods for everyone. That'll be next show. Oh, we gonna talk about y'all motherfuckers too, because some of y'all up here doing the same shit with y'all's bitches. Oh, you thought I was gonna leave? Nah, I just talk about the niggas first, because this is my folks. This is my responsibility. I gotta talk to the niggas first. You understand, right? Okay, cool. But we gonna talk about the white bitch next show. All right, okay. So anyway, don't get that fucked up. Anyway, long story short, When you get women online that direct the narratives, and these narratives are not consistent with what the story is playing out to be, there's a problem. When we get women online that are online laughing that a man passed away and giving their provisions about a man that they never ever spoke about on their channel ever. They're going back to old clips, looking up old clips that are 20 minutes or 20 seconds long, a minute long, or whatever, and they're trying to encapsulate a whole conversation as it happened. Now, you guys complain about this when people do this shit to y'all. Well, that doesn't encapsulate the whole conversation. You got to start learning, people. When you're paying attention to shit like this, don't listen to the surface. Go in. Investigate. Go see for yourself. Leaving an opinion or giving somebody a view because of that pure simple fact, I could care less what you say. Go in and investigate. Go in and investigate on your own. Stop letting people leverage you with their thoughts. Quit, especially if you're Black American or Latin American, quit allowing women that are otherwise, you can just hear it in the tone in their voice. All those women sounded uneducated. All those women sounded like they were on the plantation still, for God's sake. We have Black women that speak way better than that. Way better than that. We have Latin women that speak way better than that. These women sound like they were uneducated, unaccomplished, or mad and evil inside. Those videos influences young and delicate minds to think in the wrong direction. And because of that influence, it's like the person down below said, what do you think comes out of that, authority? I'll tell you what comes out of that. Our next generation of bitter, mean, evil, anti-male women that don't procreate with their own men. Hence, what happens? Your population goes down. Once the population goes down and you eradicated many of the men, now the women don't have anybody to procreate with. Hence why you see a lot of Black women running around like, I can't find a husband, because there's too many of you and not enough men. So your best interest, ladies, is to find some proper men and get the fucking. Because if you don't start procreating, you're going to be gone within 15 to 30 years. And the way you're going to be gone with 15 to 30 years, because you're going to be like, oh shit, we got rid of all the fucking, oh fuck. Oh fuck. Charmaine, girl, we ain't got nobody. We ain't got nobody. Now, we're not talking about the men and the gay shit and all that shit. Listen, man, these bitches be talking about this nigga gay, and this whole time they got a gay best friend. I don't want to hear nothing about that gay shit. I know gay folks. Gay folks is cool. They don't be online doing none of this shit. And nobody, for the person matter, gives a fuck about what any of those bitches had to say about anything. You understand what I'm saying? Like, any of those chicks y'all heard talking, did you really give a fuck what they had to say? And in reality, I broke it down the demographics on here. If you don't believe me, go look for yourself at the CDC and it'll show you. There are more Black American women than there are Black American men that are gay. This is the God honest truth. And they're the most increasing numbers in the LGBTQ community. So a lot of people are starting to look at it as like a shroud. I don't, listen, they got the red pill and blue pill, I think that's what it is or whatever. I used to go view some of that shit or whatever, and I stopped messing with it because of pure simple fact, it just came off a little moist for me. Does that make sense? Like it came off like almost the niggas over there, they hated women. I don't hate bitches. No, excuse me, my friends. But I say it like that in a loving way. You know what I'm saying? Like, Devin don't hate chicks. So for me, it's like, it's weird when I hear somebody say, okay, well, he don't like my brand of woman, so he must be this. No man wants any of those chicks that I just played the video for. If that bitch will hop online and do that shit and talk that ill-wittily about anybody and laugh or mock somebody that died, motherfucker, what you think she gonna do for your ass? If you marry her or wife her up, you think she gonna embrace you? Nigga, she'll do the same thing to you as soon as she get mad. Oh, well, let me go to the internet, tell everybody how I hated this dude. Let me go to the internet, tell everybody how he really beat me. That's why I don't have any remorse for him. Let me go to the internet, play victim. This is becoming I don't know how to explain it, a play point online for many of women nowadays to play victim. And if you are a victim because somebody assaulted you, I got your back. You understand what I'm saying? My ex-boss had been brought up on some charges. You know what I'm saying? Many of y'all are familiar with me or whatever. And I said right then and there, I said there's certain shit that I can tolerate, and then there's certain other shit that I can't tolerate. And at the end of this, dogs, if you're wrong, I'm gonna call it out. And I did just so. There's a hotel video. I was, nah, son, I ain't supporting that. Many other niggas said the same thing. But all the other shit, we're not gonna sit here and play it like you did that, and we don't know if you did that. You understand? The selection is slim, is all I was saying. You have a slim selection because you need to look at your populace numbers. Black women in society outnumber black men almost 3 to 4. I think it's 3 or 4 to 1. For every one black dude, there's like 3 or 4 black chicks. And no offense, it's like any other culture. Out of the 3 or 4 chicks that you got available to you, it's certain to say, but usually they come with some rubbish with them. You know, they either got side babies at 20 something or even 30 something, or they what most people would consider young enough to have kids at 30 something, 35, 40. You know what I'm saying? They already raised the kid because they had a kid at 13, 14, 15 years old. Same thing with a lot of Latin girls. You know what I mean? It's hard to find like a good Latin woman because usually they got 1, 2 to 3 babies most of the time. The ones that are, you want to deal with. Now, you want to deal with a corporate broad, that's a whole different world. But I'm talking about if you just want to deal with a plain, regular Latin woman or black woman, you're going to deal with a chick that most of the time got a ready-made family. And most of the people that's out here in the dating world, they're going to tell you that. And the thing that bothers me, I can't date no girl that's 34, 35 years old. Like 28 and up is like my dating range, you know? I can't date no girl that's like 28, 30 something, whatever, and got kids. I mean grandkids, excuse me. I can't date no chick that got grandkids at that old. I'm like, yo, that shit is just ridiculous. Like, that's not even reality. Alan Baylor says, why do you assume they only have a black man as an option? Why do you assume I haven't looked at the demographics from the from the CDC that show you marriage demographics, and it'll show you the ongoing span within the past 30 years? I think that's where it goes back to. You've never seen any trends increase with interracial dating concerning black women. It is only it's fell for one, but the times that it did peak, a little bit, it only did it by I think it was like 3 or 4%. Most men of different races don't particularly in mobs go after black women. Where you'll see the difference with black men. You can tell the black man anywhere across the country, and there will be women that go to his feet. If you don't believe me, you go check the Passport Bros. If you look at the Passport Bros movement, and you see some of these chicks that were trying to follow the Passport Bros, the Colombia and shit like that, that's why I said a lot of these bitches got mental problems. You got a mental problem if you follow men to a foreign country that they're going to find women, only to get answers of why these same men don't want to deal with you, even though there's plentiful ones of you. One, most men don't like that sassy, nasty ass fucking attitude that comes with you that you saw displayed by all those broads that I played for y'all that were talking. That's number one. Number two, most men don't like some woman that sounds like a fucking man. You understand what I'm saying? It gets mad when you don't find her attractive. That's a new thing for me. I just realized earlier. The other day I was waiting for the subway or whatever, and these 2 black girls walked past me, and they were very nasty as what they were saying, but I just didn't pay attention to it. I just let it go or whatever. The fact that they thought they looked pretty and I didn't pay attention to them, they got upset with me. Like, visibly upset that I didn't acknowledge them. You understand what I'm saying? Why do I need to acknowledge you for? I don't know you. I don't even find you attractive. That's just what it is. But you'll get these women that feel like almost like the men are supposed to adhere to them, and they have the right to disrespect the men. You understand what I'm saying? As much as they want to. I don't like the way you look. You dressed up. He think he all that. I have never went out and looked at a chick that was black and said, she got a weave in her hair. She thinks she better than everybody. Now, be a black man, and they don't think that you're up to par for what they like or whatever, and go around there with your nicest suit on or something like that. Why should they make fun of you? But if you made fun of them, you be wrong. You supposed to be a man. You ain't supposed to make fun of me. You know, so it's a lot of double standards that go along with that. And so one of the things that attributes to this is a lot of the men I don't want to take this to a dating thing, but a lot of the men, I'm speaking because of a man, I'm a man. A lot of guys don't want to date a lot of black American girls because of their attitudes, and a lot of them seem unhappy, and a lot of them seem like control freaks. Like, anytime you get a man is not up under you to be controlled. You understand what I'm saying? Even though, like, when you deal with a lot of black girls, I feel, and I think a lot of other people agree with this, and Latin women do it too. They want you to be under their thumb. They want you to feel like they control you to a certain extent or whatever. And a lot of men are opting for that because they want to lead in their households. I don't want to argue with somebody about who's going to lead in here when, bitch, you don't pay for nothing in here. And I've previously always kept my own. Ever since I've been 19 years old. I did it the first time with drug money. I've always lived by myself. You will find no record that shows anything other than that with me. There's two times I stayed with a chick. I stayed with a chick one time when I was waiting to get a certificate of occupancy to move into my condo. That was one. You can't avoid that. It's a certificate of occupancy means they came in, they investigated the place or whatever. They deemed it that you could. At first, I started out as sublease, and then it turned into ownership. So that's one. Second time I stayed with a woman was a Puerto Rican woman that I was very, very much in love with at the time or whatever. And so I stayed with her and I lived with her only ultimately to go move into my condo. You know what I'm saying? Well, she'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I've always lived by myself. Decades I've lived by myself. And currently, I live by myself. So I don't need a chick. A lot of these guys are dependent on women to the point where they've never had a rental history. They're in the 30s now. They never had a bank account. I've seen a lot of that. And I want to start helping some of these men because I do believe they need help. And what I mean by that is I want to create a system where if you know a brother that's over 25 years old and he don't have a bank account, then we need to go get you a bank account. You understand what I'm saying? You only need $20 to start a bank account. That way, when you do start getting into the fold, you can be able to cash your checks and stuff like that. You could probably put these motherfucking checking places out of business. But spending 20 minutes of your day going to get a bank account. Hell, you can sign up for it online nowadays. You understand? So I know guys that are 30-something, 40-something, never had a rental history before. I met them. I met guys that never had a loan before. I've had two of them. You know, so it's a sad state of affairs, but keeping these men on the titty, as I like to say, for long periods of time. I mean, what's the average motherfucker leave the house now? 35? You know, so it's and we're not talking that long back. It's not like I'm in my 60s or 70s or 80s or 50s or something. I'm still a young cat, so I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, fuck the ridiculing. What can we do to help these people? Because these people are still in society. These people are not going to be gone from society, in some cases 40 to 50 years from now. So what do we do? Do we keep on pointing fingers and da-da-da-da? Do we take, how can I say it? Do we take consideration of the fact that maybe the rhetoric and the interaction from some of these women and some of the things that they embrace nowadays, whether it be interracial dating or whatever the case is, I don't care. I just always find it funny that you'll get somebody come in here and says, what makes you think that black women, that's their only dating choice? What makes you think the black dudes, you're their only dating choice? I'll raise you to motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Do you think historically segregating black people into their own communities would know the little economic opportunities played a role? There was many of different travesties. I will agree with you on that one. There was many different tragedies. Everybody just points out to, what is it? Down there in, I forgot what the place it was. Black Wall Street. Everybody points to that. But did you know there was like over, I think like 30-something towns across the United States that were built up like that? And yes, I mean, this is historically reported. There's been Congress meetings on it or whatever. These things happened, you know? And so when I say to white people, I say, you know, I get this right here, and we're not just capping for Charlie Kirk, but at the same time, we have to acknowledge that these things happen historically. I mean, everybody from the Library of Congress you know, I mean, what more do you need when Congress acknowledges it? You know, so you can't say that somebody, this not too long ago, there was 3 survivors from Black Wall Street, and I'll tell you how this goes both ways. There was 3 survivors from Black Wall Street. You can look this up. They actually, I think it's Arkansas. They actually stood in front of their local senators and things like that, and then later on they went to D.C. to speak too. One of them was 105 years old, another one was 103, and I think another one was 106, and it was actually originally 4 of them. they were kids when this tragedy happened. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, this Black Wall Street thing here, is when people of another community actually came in with bombs and things like that they had dropped off of planes, duster crop planes to be exact, and dropped these bombs from up high and caught the whole town on fire and burned it to death. Well, it's not just this one incident. There's multiple ones. Now, why do I say this is important? Well, this town had its own banks, had its own education system, had its own teachers. It was an ongoing town. And what I think the fear was at that time, and you're talking about the 30s and 30s and 20s and stuff like that. What I think what you had was fear of what these people could potentially become based on the rhetorics that were put out there at the time. Even for good white folks, they would get scared. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the kickback from the Night Riders, aka the KKK, and the white separatists of that time. You know. So make no mistakes, I ain't here to tap dance. I ain't here to shine shoes. I ain't here to fetch your car. I ain't here to drive you to town either. And I'm quick to say, fuck you. Trust me, white, black, and indifferent. Anybody that know me, know that about me. I don't give a fuck who you are. Just think of me as Family Guy over here. You know what I mean? Why do you assume that? Why do you assume they only have black men as an option? I think that's real funny. Well, it was illegal in this country until around the 70s to interracially marry. That's not true. It was legal in everywhere except for Virginia. Love versus the state of Virginia. That was the last place in the United States that didn't allow interracial relationships. 1975, Love versus the state of Virginia. Look it up, Bayless. Bayless seems like one of those people that delves into that type of thinking too, blaming everybody. Keep up the good work, telling the truth about respect your work, your child. I appreciate it. Guys, make sure you double tap the screen, hit the like button, make sure you hit that Cash App. Oh, wow. I didn't get any Cash Apps this last broadcast or the other ones either. That's okay. A lot of people don't donate to me based off color. It's all good. Or gender, or what I got to say. But what I do want to say is there's a guy in here, and I want to embarrass him real quick. His name is Cesar Gonzalez. And Cesar Gonzalez said, I want $500. He just requested $500 from me. That's a lot of people on here that are mentally ill. So guys, make sure y'all hit up and support the Cash App when y'all can. If you don't have Cash App, you can use my link, sign up, use my code, it'll get you $10 back. Also, you can use PayPal, and I also have Venmo, so make sure you hit that up. Yeah, because I don't do this for free. My page is monetized, but it's just like, it's nickels and dimes. Give you an example. I did 1.4 million views this month, and I have now made $64 from Google AdSense. You can look at it and tell. They give you the numbers and everything like that. So they don't pay us very well over here on YouTube or whatever. And I like to continue to do this. So if you like any of the things I say or whatever, make sure you support the channel and donate or whatever. That means you too, black women. Dudes who don't know history are deemed a repeated 1800 psych op. Yeah, I think I've read everything. I'm going to do another one later on. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. I know I put in more in there, but I think the conversation has come to a close. We're at the 2-hour point here or whatever. I will be back a little bit later. I'm actually going to, and you know what, Ellen Bowles, listen, man. First you said this is what he said. Let me show you how black people operate so y'all can understand. They do things like this. I was talking about interracial dating, right? So this is what he wrote first. He said, well, it was illegal in this country up until around the 70s to interracially marry. He put international instead of interracially. Y'all can just look at the bottom of the chat and y'all see what he wrote. Then after that he wrote, and I'm not skipping any of his things, he wrote after this, do you think historically segregating black people into their own communities was with no economic da-da-da-da? Then he wrote to try to clear up the last comment he wrote to try to make it seem like he was still smart. After I gave him, now this is the type you got to watch out for. After I told him he said sometime in the 1970s, that's what he said. Once again, it was illegal in this country up until around the 70s. He didn't say a specific date. He didn't ask a specific case or anything like that. This is how you have to watch for a lot of African-American dudes that think like this. So then he falls behind. This is what he says. That was a Supreme Court case, actually, so now he's helping me. First, you didn't know what the date was. You didn't know what the name of the case was. I provided both, and you followed it behind with. That was a Supreme Court case, actually. Get your bitch ass out of here. Get your hoe ass out of here. I don't fuck with people like that. Get your hoe ass out of here. I was being nice to let you sit here. Thank you, Atoro. I appreciate it. Salud. Vamos a hacerle un cash por la gente latino ahí. Tú sabes, gracias, salud, la gente, pero hasta Dios ahora. And to everybody else, I appreciate y'all showing up. I will talk to y'all later. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Charlie Kirk or something else. I don't know. But guys, make sure, thank you very much, Kara. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App. If you don't have Cash App, make sure you hit up PayPal. All you have to do is just hit that. What's the name? And once again, can y'all make sure y'all double tap the screen and hit the like button. I find it very funny. Earlier, I had over 900 people in here in this conversation and only 187 likes. Don't you find that funny? And I think it's more so, I think it's also geared towards a lot of people online now. They want to see you lose, you know, and it's sad. It's crabs in a buckle mentality or whatever. But guys, just make sure you hit up the Cash App, support the channel. We appreciate it. I will talk to y'all later. Until good black women, that conversation had nothing to do with y'all. That's for the he-hos, ha-has, and motherfucking nasty thought. Man, just cut it off. Talk to y'all later, man.